Well, coming up next, you may recognize this guy. It's going to be a trip. I don't even know what to expect. Put your hands together for this one guy from somewhere. Yeah.
Hey, folks. I just can't tell you how happy I am to be here. They're paying me. You know, every time you hear somebody saying, I'm so happy to be here, it's because he's getting paid, you know. Just a bit. Hold it. Oh, ain't nothing worse than hand-me-down chompers. You see, my granny wasn't that big, see? And so it's just like you got to pound them in there, and then because I got a big family, I only get the tops, and then not all year. But I picks on my brother because he only gets the bottoms. And I tell him I got to smile inside of the teeth because when I smile, you can see my teeth. Oh, wait. There, see? Better put these back where they belong. Oh, just a bit here. Just a second. No. I was just tricking on you folks. That's the kind of feller I am, where I'm always thinking all the time. I just trying to make you think I could read. And you was going for it, didn't you? See, but then I got to thinking, it ain't right to be lying to folks. I mean, if you're married to them, sure you got to. But other than that, so I just tell you now, all right? And I know by now some of you out there saying, this here fish ain't from our pond. No, I know you don't talk that way. We do. Yep. Say, and I also know you be making jokes about us, don't you? Hillbillies, you call us. I heard it before. See, because I told you, I always thinking. I heard one other day, he said, how many hillbillies does it take to eat roadkill? He said 2. One of them to eat it, one of them to watch for traffic. See, and you all think that's funny because you ain't never been up there and seen how twisty and turny our roads is. See, down here you might not need a watcher, but up there you got to have one. And not only that, a lot of them trucks, they ain't got much brakes. My daddy's truck ain't never had no brakes since he bought it. Matter of fact, now it's only got 3 tires. Folks say to me, how you drive a car with 3 tires? What you do is this tire is missing, so you put a bunch of weight in the back of the truck here, and that pulls the front up. We usually use my Aunt Velma. See, then it gets it up like that. See, so you just making jokes about us because you don't understand us. These things about you, I don't understand at all. I was in an eating place today, this very day here today, this day, and there's a lady there had to be 65 years old, and she's like, I say, what's wrong? She had a toothache. Where I lived, her husband's knocked that out of there years ago. That's why good Lord created fighting. All the worstest and the weakest teeth, they gets knocked out first. See? And then you don't have a tooth and doctor on every corner. But before we get on this here joking stuff, what do you think about this here get up? Yeah, I seen you looking at it when I come out, thinking he's one of them fancy dancy fellers, isn't he? And I know some of you girls was thinking, is that one single? Just so you know, yes, I am. And then, wait, don't tell my wife. But now don't be taking that wrong neither, because, see, we was fighting all the time, so I left her. But living up in the mountains, I didn't want to sleep in the woods all the time, so I didn't tell her I left her, see. But I did, so if you're looking, all right. See, now for some of you that are less educated fellers, this here's what we call an outfit. Now, you ever notice you seen a girl that she's wearing like a black hat, a black necklace, and black shoes? That makes it an outfit. I seen it on the Discovery Channel. See, and I know you're saying, them folks got TV up there? Sure we do. I even know the guy that owns it. But they said on the show that you got to have something what ties it all together, see? So he's just going out and hunting in the wild pants. Them's wild flowers on my shirt, and that's a wild animal's tail on my hat. See? That makes it an outfit. Now, when he first said that, I called him right up and I said, now, what if you got on dirty pants and a dirty shirt and a dirty hat? But he said, that don't count. So then I asked him, let's suppose you was like wearing one of them French hats and you was eating some French fries and maybe Frenchy kissing a girl, but he just hung up. So I think there's a rule about just one questioning guy. So anyways, but Something y'all ought to know. This ain't no cheapy Goodwill. This here's Salvation Army. Yep. You get a product and you make a donation. That's the type of feller I am. I thought you ladies just might like to know. Yep. Now then, I don't want to be lying to you. Then get them shoes at no Salvation Army. Hi, how you doing? I can talk to you. See, that was just me. I was tricking you again. That wasn't really the shoe. All right. But I want to tell you about this shoe. I tell you the thinking on here. See, what happened is a long, long time ago when they still allowed my daddy in a bar. He's in there, and there's a fella there that was somebody, like that. All right, and my daddy almost bumped into him. He's saying, excuse me, he's saying it's all right and all that. And people over there think they was talking to him, see? So my daddy looked like somebody who knowed somebody who was somebody. He'd catch a girl with matching shoes. True story, it really happened. So my brothers got to thinking, if this here talking job works out, then I could be somebody. They'd be somebody who was related to somebody. They could see underwear. Just like in those selling magazines in our house. So what we done is we all pitched in, and we told Mama if she make these here shoes, we'd let her use the wash water first for a whole month. That'd motivate a girl 3 whole times. It's okay you folks be making jokes about it. It's because you don't understand us. If you go on up where I live, you say Flatlander, somebody going to giggle. You know, it's just how it is. You make jokes about us because we're different. We make jokes about you because we're smarter. It's just how it is. You see, and I think it works out to this, is that you folks, everything you knowed, somebody tells you. You went to school, you got it on your phone. Everything we know, we had to learn for ourselves. That's what made our brains so big and strong, see? And it's, then we think stuff through, see? I'm going to give you an example. I was down by the river on a sunny day. I was fishing, all right? Y'all know that fishing is just another name for taking a nap? Okay. This fella come along, Flatlander, and he hollers over, how'd you get to the other side of the river? Now, I was going to holler stupid, but I didn't because he had a gun, see, thinking again. Yep. But I just said, pay attention, you are on the other side of the river. What was you thinking? And then here's even the worstest one. We was at this here swimming place, one of them where you swim with your clothes on. Other folks is there. And he had one of them magazine things. He's a Flatlander. And what he done is he had one of them scratch and sniff things, see? And he sniffed it. He didn't like it. He throwed it in the lake. My brother almost drowned. You can't sniff underwater. What was he thinking? He wasn't, see? They just things like that folks got to learn. Now, I'm going to show you something. This here is really important. This is a life changer, all right? Watch this. See how that stays right there where I put it? It's all that bathing you're doing what's messing you up. You don't need that spray on sticky your hair. Leave it alone for 4 or 5 days. It gets sticky all on its own. You leave it alone for a couple of weeks, you can do all that stuff like they're paying money for. And another one, this important one, all that spray on you smelling pretty stuff. Now, I understand, but see, I was coming in this place, just about like this place. And as I'm walking in, I smelled this young lady behind me. I said, how you doing, Bob? Guys, how many of these girls do you think is sitting at home saying, when I grow up, I'm going to find a man as big as strong as a flower? Come on. It won't smell like no flower. See, you want to smell strong. What I do before I go out, don't be telling everybody, but I go on down to the bullpen like that. See, then I smell real strong. And even sometimes then I have trouble finding a girl. You see what I'm saying? You got to think this here stuff through. All right, and this here is an important one too. These iron goggles, I only wear them when I'm down here so you guys will think I'm civilized and stuff. But do you realize that a man's eyes was created to get weakened at the same rate his wife gets all wrinkly? See that feller that was talking about old age divorce? That's what done it. See, another thing. Okay, did you notice when you get a little bit older, it's like they move the floor farther away? See, if you didn't have these iron goggles on, you wouldn't see that stuff. You'd leave it there. See? And see, just right along with that, you ever notice that them old folk kind of walk like that? That's so they don't trip over all the stuff they left on the floor. It all goes together, see? It trains you. That's how you learn these things. I got to tell you one more thing. I want you to think about it. Because sometimes when people get too much information, they get all uppity. I'll tell you this story. My little sister, she gets a job down in the flatlands, and in the winter, it's kind of scary coming up the mountains. So my daddy said, just wait, get behind the plow, and follow it home. So sure enough, it happened. She's following the plow, and the guy in the plow, he keeps looking back like she's doing something wrong, and he's getting all uppity and stuff, and finally he pulled over. He come back there to her, and he said, what are you doing? She told him just what Daddy said. He didn't leave nothing out. She told it all. And he said, will you realize when I get done plowing here at Myers, I got to plow over at Walmart?
My name is Cody Holdridge. I've been doing comedy for approximately 8 months. I feel like it's something that's been calling me my whole life, but I've denied. My biggest influences would be Joe Rogan, Ari Shaffir, my favorite Jew, Duncan Trussell, Joey Diaz, and Mitch Hedberg. All right, guys, enjoy the show. I've done this before, I promise. Whew, all right. How's everybody doing tonight? Beautiful crowd. Beautiful crowd. I don't know what to say after that one guy, so I don't think I will. But normally, I come up here with some papers, which I did bring up here, and some one-liners, but I'm going to try something a little bit different today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. As she said, my name's Cody. I'm Cody Holdridge. I was born in Marshall, and I've lived there for about 8 months now. And I'm not bad at math or 8 months old. I just recently moved there. Funny thing about my birthday, I was lucky enough to be born during the playoffs, which means it was when the Tigers were there. So my doctor was watching the Tigers, and the nurse delivered me. And I shit in the womb. That's the first time I shit the bed. I don't have a callback for that, so don't wait for it. There's no second time that I remember. So I grew up in Marshall. Or I didn't grow up there. I never lived there till now. I went to Concord High School. I don't expect that anybody knows where that is. He said earlier, a big class is like 2,900 people. We started the year, my graduating year, with like 120 people, and I think we graduated 60 or 70. Very small school. We didn't have a drama class. We did have a lot of drama students, however. My geometry teacher wouldn't cosine or tangent on a loan for me. I was like, when are we ever going to need to know this stuff? I was a quarterback. I was a shitty quarterback for a very shitty football team. So that's part of my concussions, and I'll touch on that a little bit later. But as a quarterback, I was the only one allowed to sit at the cool kids table, if you can believe that. So it turns out, playing football, you can get, I'm like a shitty quarterback on a shitty team. Everybody knows everybody's going for the quarterback. So I took a lot of hits. And as it turns out, you can also get brain damage from not necessarily being hit in the head, from just like body blows and your brain rattling around. That's the beer. That's not the brain damage. But I started off early. I fell out of bed as an infant until I got the scar right here. And that was a fun incident for my mom because I didn't wake up or I was knocked out. Either way, I was just sleeping on the floor in a pool of blood when she came in the morning. So that was terrifying for her. I think it's hilarious, though. Probably, I mean, like, it's, I don't want to complain. It's probably not, but an infant probably shouldn't be in a bed that they could fall out of, but, I love you, Mom. My uncle also dropped me on my head, and then I fell down the basement stairs in my stroller, so then my dad nailed 2x4 to the bottom of the stairs so my stroller wouldn't roll down the stairs anymore. But then anytime anyone else went down the stairs, they tripped over it. Okay, let's see if I can remember any more of them. I ran into a couple of trees. I recently was working at a factory job, and I had an electric drill, and it was a big one, like a 3/4 horsepower, I think, with like a 1/2-inch bit, and the drill bit was going, and then the drill bit and stopped spinning, and the drill kept spinning, and I punched myself right in the jaw with a 3/4 horsepower electric drill. That was like 2 years ago, so I think I'm due for another one here pretty soon. I am colorblind, so that's fun. Whenever I tell people this, they want to give me a pop quiz about what colors they're wearing. And just shit around the room. What color is that? And this thing over here. And I'm a pretty good guesser. You know, like, after 26 years of living in a color-coordinated world, like where you people color code everything, I have to learn how to figure it out. I imagine it's like being a left-handed person using right-handed scissors. All right. But, okay, I was going somewhere with that. Yeah, I know I'm colorblind. See, the people that want to give me a pop quiz. Oh, and then, everybody wants to have, hey man, maybe like your red's like my brown and like your blue's my green, man. Like, how do we know that's not what's up? It's like, well, scientists have figured this out, that the colors actually reflect the elements that are chemically make up everything. So that's why everything has a color. It's like the rainbows, right, G-Biv? Those are the elements refracting through our atmosphere. It's dropping science on you bitches. Okay, so I'll explain my color blindness for you. It's a red-green deficiency. I can't see things that have reds or greens in them. I'll do it mathematically. This is the best way it works for me. Purple is red plus blue. And since I have a red-green deficiency, I don't see the red very much. So blue plus red minus red, purple kind of looks a lot like blue. They're called analogous colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. I don't think I have anything else to talk about being colorblind. Oh, yes, I do. So that's it, though. It's like I still see in colors. It's just, some of them look similar to each other. But, like, everything is still beautiful, So go fuck yourself. It's like, everyone's like, oh, that must be so bad being colorblind because you don't get to see how pretty, like, flowers are. I'm like, yeah, they are. It's just the violet ones and the blue ones look pretty much the same. I have a strange relationship with tobacco. This sounds like a setup for a lot of my one-liners, but that's not it. It's not like that's... I started smoking through a hookah, but I was actually a prude. I judged everybody who drank or smoked before I did. But it started with alcohol. That was actually the gateway. I had my first drink in New York City. We were on vacation. Not really vacation. It was like a work trip. We save up our tips, and then we went on a work trip with all the employees. One of the girls snuck a water bottle full of vodka in, so I got drunk in New York City for the first time. And I cried that night, I'm pretty sure. But that was just, I think, I liked one of the girls, and she had a boyfriend and whatever. But I also drunk dialed for my first time, so that was fun. And they also have Taco Bells, so I learned about drunk Taco Bell. That's how that place stays open. But so on to tobacco. I lived at a hookah bar for a while, and that's where I was introduced to tobacco, smoking through a water pipe, like shisha. It's flavored tobacco with molasses, and Anyway, that's shortly after tobacco. I made the move. We put pot in with the hookah. That was actually fun. I actually got stoned the first time I smoked weed, which I've heard doesn't happen to a lot of people. Like the first time it doesn't work for whatever reason. But I got up and was exploring the house that I lived in. I was like, My friend's like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm exploring. It's like, you live here. It's like, yeah, but I've never seen it like this before. Like that was the first time I got the giggles. Like I've seen it before in movies and whatever, but I was just like giggling uncontrollably, and I just couldn't help it. It's not really funny, but it happened. So I get it now. Okay, and so yeah, living at the hookah bar. It was like a party every night there. That was fun living there. Until it got shut down for minors. Drinking, underage drinking. It was a party. Cops raided it. I ran away. Everyone else got MIPs. And then so the party followed me to the next house, which is where I found mushrooms. And that's where I met God. She's a beautiful lady. She sang me a song. It didn't have any words, but I knew what she meant. So now I owe collections on that house. Because, damages and shitty roommates and, people who will sell your DVDs and video games for drugs and then not share the drugs with you. All right, that's my time. Thank you very much. My name is Cody Holdridge. You can find me on Twitter and now on Facebook.
Let's get this shit started, all right? You guys heard that right there. My last name is Wellfare. Wellfare. I'll let you guys just let that absorb for a second there. We're not going to be able to do anything about it. Trust me, I've tried. My one saving grace is, though, 2 L's on the last name. I was able to afford the second one. I'm a little bit of a baller, all right? Used to get a lot of shit, though, growing up, having that name. When I was in elementary school, I had a pair of black and white Reeboks. Kids would kick them. They were mean. They were like, generic boy, generic boy. I'm like, look, dude, you're wearing Adidas, all right? Unless you're wearing Nikes, you need to shut the fuck up, all right? Got to high school, the black kids, they called me food stamp. Now, I kind of liked that one. It was original. But other kids, man, they were just straight up mean. They would be like, you on welfare, you on welfare, you eat Goodman cheese, you eat Goodman cheese. And I'm like, all right, time out here. I always thought that welfare was spelled with L's, and I didn't know there was a B in government, but I'm the one on welfare? I don't think so. I don't think so. From Lansing. I am from Lansing. Went to the inner city school of Lansing Eastern High School there. Let's talk racial slurs. Heard lots of racial slurs growing up there, and I understood a lot of them. I did. Like, I understood cracker. That meant the slave master cracking his whip back in the day. I knew what Oreo meant. It meant you're half black and half white. But I never knew what honky meant. We talked about it earlier. I never knew what that meant, and I was called it all the time. Do you think you fucking honky? So then, when I became a comedian, I decided I was going to try and figure out what that word meant. So I did a little research on it. Turns out that word goes back to like when the car was first invented. Rich white folks would drive their cars down into the ghetto, and they were too scared to get out of their car to proposition a hooker, so they would honk on their horn to call them on over. The more I read, the more I said, this is bullshit, people. This is absolute bullshit. I have no problem getting in my Impala, driving down to the ghetto, getting out, walking up to a lady, and negotiating a fair price. I am not a honky, people. I'm a lot of other things, but a honky I am not. I am not. I'm an asshole. I am. Let's keep talking race stuff, all right, man? Let's talk stereotypes for a second. Let's talk about the stereotype of why the black dude always has to die first in a movie. Why, man? Why? Because of I call bullshit on that because of another positive stereotype that follows the black man around, and that is their speed. In reality, if a black dude opened the door and the killer was there, they'd be the fuck out of there. They would be. A more realistic person to die first in a scary movie? Me, dude. Honestly, dude, I'd fucking open up the door, the killer would be there, and be like, oh, fuck, dude. All right, dude, let's just get this over with, because I'm not running. I am not running. Not. Another stereotype, man, that I love follows black people around. They got the best stereotype here, man. Black dudes have big dicks, man. Black dudes have big dicks. It's probably true. You look like you have a big dick, dude. I wish that stereotype followed around short, fat, white dudes, dude. I honestly do. That'd be the greatest stereotype for me ever. And let's just pretend that stereotype exists for just a moment. This is the conversation that I think that would be going on between two women as I approach them in the mall. Oh my God, Sheila. Look at that short, fat, white dude over there. I bet you his cock is huge. You know it. I bet you it's girthy too. And I'd walk by him, I'd be like, you know it, bitches. If the stereotype was true. But it's not. I will slap that meat on the table. Boom. I am a father. I am a father of a beautiful 6-year-old girl. She just started kindergarten earlier this year. I'm excited about that, but I'm nervous at the same time because the whole bullying thing going on out there. I mean, take it from me, the short, fat, white guy, dude, with the last name Wellfare. I took my fair share of bullying growing up. I did, but I never fought my battles with my fists. I fought my battles with my words, which more or less, in the end, I ended up getting my ass kicked anyways. I'll give you guys some examples. They'd be like, you're on welfare. And I'd be like, all right, bro. We ride the bus together, and I get dropped off at a house, and you get dropped off at a trailer. So, you're fat. I'm like, again, my parents can afford to feed me, and well, yours can't. And like, so you're white. And I'm like, thank God, all right? Let's recap here real quick, all right? First off, like, I live in a house. You don't. My parents can afford to feed me, yours can't, and I'm white. I'm failing to see how you're putting me down, and that's usually about the time that I get my ass kicked. So we'll see how my daughter handles things now growing up in the school systems. As a single father, I was a single father for a long, long time before I got married. And, dude, there was a game that I always loved to play, and I loved to outdo my ex. I loved to outdo my ex. Any chance that I had that I could outdo my ex, I took advantage of that. I really did, man. So anytime my daughter wanted something, normally I would give it to her. And there was this time not long ago that she came up to me and she said, Daddy, I want a kitten. And I was like, you know what, sweetheart, we're going to get you a kitten. Not only is it going to teach you responsibility, but she deserved it. So we went and we got her this kitten. She loved the kitten, and the kitten loved her. The only thing is, like, whenever it was time for her to go to bed or time for her to go to school, she would start crying uncontrollably. She'd be like, Daddy, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to bed. I'm like, honey, what's wrong? She's like, Daddy, I'm scared. I'm scared, Daddy. I'm just scared that, like, when I get home or when I wake up, that Nala's the name of the cat, that Nala's not going to be here. And I'll say, honey, shh, and I'll hold her tight. I'll stroke her back, and I'll say, honey, shh. I promise you, this kitten, it's going to be here in the morning, all right, honey? It is nothing like your mother. Thank you for applauding. Normally people are like, boo, and I'll be like, you don't know the fucking bitch, all right? There's a reason why I get the child support.
Access Vision. Your voice, your community.